I'm going to start off with an introduction about myself and what Face the Peace is all about, which is my new project. I'm mostly going to let you, we couldn't get an introduction from Rusty Fleming because it was too late. But he's allowed us to show us this 2-minute thing of him talking about the drug war and the effects that it has. And then we're going to slowly go into a debate, an informal debate about certain things about the drug war and how we can maybe stop it, and the advantages and disadvantages of stopping the drug war. Okay, first of all, I am a graffiti artist from South Africa. It goes by the name of Gasak. I'm painting some of South Africa's most awesome areas, if you can put it that way. I created a project in 2011 called Faces to Inspire, where I was trying to raise funds to go and paint one of the most highest crime rate area in South Africa, to go and live there as a white person, to break racial boundaries, as well as to add colour and hope to the community that I thought needed it most. And 2 weeks before that was taking place, I needed funds for the paint, and no paint company would allow me to take in 1 litre of paint, and that was in Pietermaritzburg or Durban in South Africa. And with doing that, I took things into my own hands to try and raise funds for this project of mine. And with doing that, I was caught up by 8 guys down in Durban City, along Milan Italy, as most of you know, where they beat me up, they took off my clothes, thinking I had wires on, connected to the police, and so forth. They threatened to kill me if I went to the police station, and after a few hours I went to the main police station in Durban, where the officer on duty accused me of selling my phone for drugs, which my phone was the only valuable thing that was stolen from me. And that's where this whole idea of Face the Peace came in, with me going up against the biggest criminal organisation in the world, in the highest crime rate area in the world as well. To paint 8 international peace leaders' faces on these guys' walls in Juarez, Mexico, and El Paso, Texas. And so this is where Face the Peace was created. And it has been just over a year and a half now of planning that, Face the Peace. And so hopefully I'll be able to make some awareness through this project of mine and bring some kind of peace to the drug war. And why I'm not focusing on the drugs in South Africa is because I feel that if I go to the heart of where it's coming from, I can prove my point to the people out there that there is a problem with the drugs in the world, and there's no point trying to approach small communities trying to eradicate the drugs in that area or criminal organisations. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a 2-minute idea of what the drug war is about. Rusty Fleming is an award-winning director from the United States, who was one of the first people I spoke to about this project, and he's working on it from that side, and then I'm working on this side. So, yeah, he knows a lot about the drug war.
Extortion, corruption, kidnapping, murder.
You see it?
Some of the hazards we live with more than 5 million people residing within the 2,000-mile border region between Mexico and the United States. Not even in the main wars of Chicago and Alabama, the population of the United States been caught in the middle of such a war. Daily confrontations with private cartels and the gangs they employ, placing the public at large, center stage of a violent upheaval at an unprecedented level. These drug cartels and their paramilitary codes are trying to eradicate each other, while simultaneously seizing control of what has been best described as a criminal enterprise the size of $10. For law enforcement, the task is daunting. They're up against an enemy that has no rules of engagement, no limits, and no mercy. In the beginning, the smugglers only killed each other, making it easy to sweep them along and watch as they eliminated their rivals. Now the stakes are too high. These cartels spend millions of dollars a month in bribes alone, just to keep the wheels of supply greased and turning. Machine guns and missile launchers. These guys are armed better than 60% of the world's militaries, and the majority of it all is supplied from channels in the U.S. They maintain the latest in high-tech electronic communications, the best money can buy. and surveillance, you think you're watching them. What you don't realize is they're already watching you. Trucks, planes, trains, boats, cars, even tunnels. The cartel's total utilization of every means possible to get their product to market knows no limitation. There's a voracious appetite for all things narcotic in the United States, and these highly motivated businessmen have every intention of supplying that demand. It's where it is. Those thinking of joining them will never get out alive. If those wanting to step up and fight have to be willing to die. By every definition, this is all out of war. If war is hell, welcome to hell.
Okay, that just gives you an idea about the drug war from Rusty Fleming's point of view. Okay, so we're just going to have a short debate, informal debate on this. I'm just going to raise 6 questions, one at a time. And if you feel that you want to provide an answer to it, please feel that you want it. If you want to, please do. And if it's negative or positive, please do. I want to hear what you have to say about it. And everything is right, nothing is wrong. Okay. The first thing is, do you think people in the world should have the freedom to take narcotic drugs? And if, explain why. Does anyone feel that they'd like to answer that? From their point of view.
I think people have the right to do sort of what they want. It's basically like saying people can't drink or smoke, but at the same time, they are harmful, they are creating bad scenarios for other people. But at the same time, human rights gives you the right to basically do what you want. And saying that, that's sort of like saying you have the right to murder people. So it's, I don't know, it kind of closes itself in a way. Where you have the right to do it, but it's just whether you have morals to understand what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah, and does anyone else have anything to say to that or disagree with that?
Can I just ask?
Yes.
Why do you think that is wrong?
What, take drugs?
Yes.
Well, I've personally gotten to a point where I've taken quite a bit of stuff, and it destroys your life. It takes away aspects of your life that are valuable to you. So it's things that you don't actually realize that you miss, but when you start taking drugs, it not only takes that away, but it destroys that part of you. So it's not wrong, as in I can't say to you, don't take drugs because it's bad for you, because who am I to tell you what to do? But it's obviously harmful to you because it destroys that part of your life.
Okay. Do you agree with it? What did you have to say, sir?
Basically, when I don't know the point, we just get on into the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does anyone else have any input on that? On how they feel about it?
I think everyone knows drugs and stuff.
But that's the thing. Yeah. But that's the thing. It becomes an addiction. Yeah.
But is that why it's bad? Does it become an addiction? Is the substance itself bad, or is it the fact that it becomes an addiction bad? Because I think people are always thinking of bad because when people do it, bad things happen. But is it the fault of the person of the substance, or is it the substance itself? Because drugs in its essence, when they were made to be harmful, were made to harm. Not drugs that are narcotics, but in drugs in general. Like when people were creating these chemicals, they were trying to correct something that they thought was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm asking you, why do you say it's bad? It's bad because now people are abusing it, or the drug itself? What's bad?
I think it's people using it because of that. When you put it that way, the drug itself is harmful to you, yes, but it's not harmful to smoking. It's bad for you, but if you abuse it enough, if you smoke too much, you're going to get cancer. If you drink too much, you're going to get liver damage. So I think it's the abuse of the drug more than the drug itself. Yeah.
Okay, and don't you think there's a health issue involved, as well as the people that have to import that stuff to, let's say, the people in America? It's a celebrity wants some drugs. Don't you think the line that has to go through from Colombia to Mexico, through Mexico and into America, don't you think that's just a priority just with the drug, not looking at it, just as a taking it kind of thing, but the lives that are put on the line just to get that stuff into America?
Yeah, of course. It's a dangerous thing to do. So it's like anything, when I say important, not a very important, it's like anything important. It has to have a certain path that it takes. People die trying to get cigarettes, people die trying to get alcohol use. So I think war on drugs is a good idea, but if you do war on drugs, do war on alcohol, do war on, because there's still people that are dying to get those substances.
Okay, but then what about the 55,000 people that have just been murdered in the drug war alone? Which is more people that have been murdered in the drug war than in Iraq or Afghanistan. But there's no kind of like bringing a peace to this drug war.
Yeah.
But yet they're investing over, I think it's $15 billion US in 2010. In 2010, which was over $500 a second, that was put into the drug war, and there was no output to it. Like there's nothing that came of it. And then there was another year where it just went on and on and on. So do you think narcotics are a good thing to take if you know the line behind it, where they're coming from? Or is it just
It's gone beyond that. It's more like a power thing now.
what, to take drugs?
It's not just the drugs,
Yeah.
or drug lords.
So yeah, the cartels.
Fine.
Yeah. And so, we'll get to the end of the drug war, and then that will go to. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one, the pros and cons of the drug war. So if the drug war was to be stopped, do you think if the drug war was to be stopped, would you think the cartel would be stopped? No. Okay, why do you think that?
Everyone always will be in demand for drugs, so they'll always find a way to make it.
Yeah. And if drugs were illegal, if drugs were legal, do you think there would still be a demand for cartel? Or what do you mean by that? If drugs were legal, it would be an enterprise for them. But then on the same sense, does it mean that pharmaceutical companies with greedy investors in them, do you think that they will be the ones sitting in the backseat waiting for this drug war to end, that will be trying to gain investments into the drug market when the drug war ends? So when these pharmaceutical companies take over the drug war, or the drugs that are in the drug war, and do you think that they will be the ones that will be the new cartels when it comes to that? No. You don't think so? More educated. Okay? But then, that's correct. And then what happens about advertising? Now these pharmaceutical companies are going to be advertising narcotic drugs on billboards, say, this is fine, you can take it, it'll help you out. But at the end of the day, it's a narcotic drug and it's going to destroy that person, no matter what. And that's a health issue.
And think about it this way, drugs are illegal now, and people still take it. So whether you advertise or not, people that don't want to take it can't take it. For one, I don't want to take drugs now, so if you advertise it, it's still not going to want to make you take drugs. So I think legalizing it would take away the death part of everything. So people wouldn't have to smuggle it through here and get shot at here and, take that bad part where if you legalize it, it'll be a legitimate industry,
Yeah.
So it'll be like break.
Do you believe that?
I think so.
That if we made it legal, there will be less
Death.
death.
Okay. Do you want to go?
Because I think it actually wouldn't, it would be the same thing. Because if you think about it, in like poverty-stricken areas, people are killed for less than that. People are killed for stupid things like water or whatever. So it's not going to eliminate death. It's just maybe you might take it down a notch, but it's still going to be there because everybody wants to be ahead. Nobody wants to be the owner of this place and have to go to that other place. Everybody wants to be the next little cafe.
Yeah. But I mean, taking death down by just as much is still taking death down.
And are you talking about death by the cartel or death by the drug?
Death by cartel.
Okay.
About legalizing, like, against the drug, it's becoming the bread.
Yeah.
Something like bread. But he said, like, now we don't want to take drugs, so if you legalize it, it's not going to work. But we are grown up, so we have our own opinions and ideas, so we can, like, we have ourselves. But if you're talking about children, it's just going to be legalized. They don't understand what's good and bad.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, like, in maybe 10 years, it's going to be something great.
Yeah.
Because children will have opportunity to buy this.
And don't know the consequences of it. Do you have any suggestions? No?
I was thinking about legalizing it. I agree with you, but yeah, maybe if we legalize it, for example, then there should be more companies talking about the consequences of the drugs.
Yeah.
So there will be more education on it. I mean, it's still a lot, and it's
Like clean and eating and sort of.
yeah, but still, people should be aware of what they do. But when you ban something, you want it more. You know, this thing is like when your parents tell you shouldn't drink, but you want it.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I think legalizing would help.
Okay. And the benefit from the amount of money that's spent on the drug would be put into something like that, with getting clean needles provided all over. So if people are willing to do that, it's not going to be such a problem with health. But at the same time, taking the drug is a health issue. So there's certain things to play a part there. But yeah, it's very interesting. Anyone else have anything to say?
The any vegetarians, sorry? Vegetarian, anyone doesn't eat meat? No. No, my point was that people have the choice of meat, so it's not because it's there you have to take it, because it's legal you have to take it, or because they're advertising you're obligated to now go and stick yourself with heroin or smoke some cocaine. So I think it's up to each and everyone's individual personality whether they'll want to take it or not. So it's still going to be the same people taking it, just without having with that roots. You're suffering behind how they get it.
But don't you think more people would actually end up taking drugs than they were illegal? Because, like, if you take, for example, people who don't take drugs because they have no access to the drug. So you want to take the drug, but it's like, nobody around you has drugs. But you're not legal, like, here you're not able to keep in the corner and like a tobacco or whatever, and drugs are not legal. It's like, you have them everywhere, so you have to. But it's not a matter of like access, it's a matter of like, money in order to buy.
But then at the same point, it's not like having your gangster at the end of the street selling drugs, but having a coffee shop. So it's just notching up the way of supply.
You just polish it, it's really easy.
Yeah, you just make it more prettier. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, is it helping out the law? Yeah, what do you have to say?
I mean, you can enter into a basically you can do it the way to set it down for you a quick package. But when it comes to terms of legalizing it, fun is illegal and it's going to be lots of funds going to education and letting people know that this is what happens when you take it, this is what happens when you take cocaine, this is what happens when you do this and this and this. Yes, people will be aware of it, yes, will create more jobs, but at the end of the day, it's all about teaching. Max said was right about the little kids, as much as we are grown up, we know not to do such things. This would be simply our revenue of people to feed the next generation. It would be probably on us to teach them what the right amount to do.
And you don't feel like if you're educated about something you want to try it? You don't think so at all? If someone explains to you what this drug does, do you feel like I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking about the youth, if you're back in school, wouldn't you feel like you want to try it just to feel what the teacher's talking about? Hey? Exactly. So see it from that point, as well as if you don't know about it, you're not gonna, like if you want to find out more about it, you would do it. But if you don't get told about something, you won't want to live kind of thing, because you won't know about it. What you don't know doesn't harm you.
True, but at the same time, it's like, okay, someone can come to anyone who doesn't know, like, here's that school, man.
Yeah.
You don't know about that. You think it's going to be like a little hard, or whatever, and then it comes up there to your life.
Yeah.
You know, it comes to you in a little package and says, this is it. If you're miles from running up, you're going to be like, no, thank you. And it
How
is.
do you think this is a pattern? Same thing. Drugs look like drugs. So I can come to a kid and put in a nice little wrapper and say, I'm just saying that he's saying if you know that this is what it looks like. So just change the way it looks. They won't actually just take it over the market, just change how it looks.
That's what he's saying. You put in the package, and on the package you put, this is what it does to you, this is how it screws you up. This is
They do the same thing with cough mixture and people still take it as a drug.
They do the same thing with cigarettes.
Okay. Another thing, this law was declared by Richard Nixon in 1971, which is over 40 years now that this drug was being going on. Don't you think this is an advantage now for the government, the US government, to take advantage of taxes if drugs are legalized? You don't think that's a big bracket to play, where now they're going to be making money off society being the new drug dealers?
I don't want to start processes to do anything like that, but I think the fact that you will think that this other business involved in drugs.
It will have that improvement. The main American bank in America has been providing money to the cartel, or hiding money to the cartel. Over $200 billion US has been provided.
People think that it's involved in drugs and things will get better, but the government's already involved.
But so that's the thing, if you want to legalize drugs and allow the government to become the new cartel or the new drug dealer, where they're making a huge profit off it, they're not even touching the drugs. Or should we just keep it as it is? How it's going at the moment, where people are being murdered on the
No,
line.
we're not going to keep it the way it is, we're going to legalize items, that's not.
So then what can be an alternative for it that would not allow that to happen?
Well, we want to stop it, we want to put an end to it, we want to eradicate it, we want to
You'll never eradicate.
of course, if you can't eradicate probably how you would do with drugs.
So what alternative things can the US government use that money for than themselves?
Why don't you ask all of us?
Providing clean needles. What else can we provide for someone that's wanting to take drugs or is addicted to drugs in the legalized sense?
General education.
Education?
Special places for them, you don't want to see people, bar and street.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like special places, certain places, not everyone.
That's actually true. When you take drugs, it's dependent on where you are, what environment you're in. So if you're in a bad environment, you've got bad people around you, your trip is going to be worse than if you're in a happy place, let's say a white room with three pictures on the wall. You take shrooms and everything's going to become fantastic, right? But if you're in a dark, dingy alley and you take shrooms, it's going to completely fuck up.
Okay, and do you feel that someone that uses drugs, narcotic drugs, should have that advantage of being kind of fed by the government through their health disorder by using drugs?
At the same time, you could have some possibility of them trying to wean them off the drugs.
Yeah.
So if you pay like whatever, $100 or whatever, and you get your fix, every time you go there, they water down the road or they, make it so that we take the next and next and next. Eventually you'll get weaned off. It's little things like that. Instead of saying, come here and go to rehab and you'll get your drugs, that's a difficult thing to do.
But that's how they do it anyway when you go to rehab. Like if you go to not some backdoor rehab place, but if you actually go to like a approved rehab center, that's how they do it. They don't stop giving them drugs.
While you're on rehab, it is proven that not even 10% of people that come out of rehab. I mean, there's only positive number, which is 10% of people coming out of rehab that have been that come through the the process of cleaning, of them. So do you think rehab at the end of the day will help?
I think wasting money, or I don't know if that sounds important, but I think it's a waste. Like, unless you like a child born into a situation like that, I don't think the government should be wasting money on help you. Because you make the choice of it. It's different if you were like kidnapped and they fed you the drugs. Then if I woke up one day and was like, oh, I'm gonna go try this drug today and they check it that. I can't blame anybody else except for myself. It's unfair. The other people must not suffer. So you need to find something good, but wasting your time and you fix that with your own fault that you got out of the first place.
Yeah. Okay, and then so you were Okay, and then what about this as a solution? Okay, we're talking of Colombia, Mexico, and America, and Mexico is the place that the drugs end up, and they're the ones that take it. They've got the highest consuming drugs in the world. So don't you think it's an idea to educate the people in America not to take drugs, or try and stop the idea of taking drugs in the US, or to stop? Then there won't be a demand for drugs coming to the US. Or do you think that that's a bit too far-fetched and it's not really possible because America is so big?
I'm trying to tell Americans to stop eating McDonald's.
Jokes
You
aside.
love. McDonald's is actually it's addictive.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's a tough thing, but you are right. If you can say to people like, stop taking drugs, this is the effect, this is what's happening. If you get awareness out there, the more awareness you get out there at the end of the day, it's obviously going to help because the more people know. But it's a tough thing to try and do because America is a big place. To try and educate everyone to think the same when people are going to take drugs, regardless of whether you say acid twists the two parts of the brain. They're still going to take it because they want to take it and they want to feel the high. So it's just the way you talk to them. Like if you go in there demanding stop trying to take this, they're going to laugh at you and be like, who are you? I don't have to listen to you. You're only nothing. But I think if you go there from an education point of view and say, listen guys, take drugs. You don't really get it, but this is what it's doing. You're losing 70% of your life. It's going to make you go blind. It's going to make you lose your hearing. Like tell them the effect.
People aren't going to listen to that kind of stuff because it's the presence of now, not then, or the future. But it is interesting what you're saying. Another thing, has anyone ever been involved in drugs that can talk on the third person if they want, or involved in the criminal organisation where they've been affected by it, not being the one that's involved with the drugs, but just being around at the wrong time, the wrong place, where you've had an incident with a criminal organisation going on? No? Does anyone want to talk about drugs that they might know their friends are taking or anything? No?
Lost two of my best friends choose drugs.
Did you drugs?
Partly one was years ago. We were sitting outside, doing our ride, and I received an email from my mother telling me I'm took to the hospital with COVID. I know what was wrong, what was happening, and I think the hospital great to talk together what actually really happened. And came to us at the time where she passed away. We finally revealed that she was on some form of narcotic, which is why I think it's always there. But she's gone. This was last month, basically, and 2 years ago. Also, this was a friend of mine due to transaction, bad deal or whatever it was taking at that point in time. Triggered by someone I had.
Sorry. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add to that?
They can
for lifetime.
Yeah.
Just for the party. So, and people that very common over those things,
But do you think everyone knows the limits? Do you think everyone knows their limits with drugs?
Some people would like to know them like the first time they take it, and that's it. For some people it's that quick, like it's just, oh, we went to a party and she just wanted to try it, and the next thing you know, well, yeah, that person.
I think it's like some drugs are like they are legal,
Yeah.
which people they don't know that the chemicals and all the GHB,
Yes.
known as G. It's actually like you can bring it from one country to another, like the policeman can take you for having it, but they cannot arrest you because it's legal.
Yeah. It's a bit like bath salts.
What?
Bath salts. In America, it comes in a very fancy packet, like very bright. Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's similar to those drugs that take, or not similar in the sense of what they do, but like the way it's presented. Where the packaging is very bright in it, and it says not for human consumption, but it's sold at the petrol stations and shops on it, where kids, the youth got in to buy it, and they honestly just got their reasons on completely. And there's a video on YouTube with someone eating another person because of those bath salts. It's not bath salts. It's a drug, but it's and it's cleverly packaged and it says not for human consumption. But you go in there and you buy $5, and you've got a wicked high that you completely don't even know who you are. Another big drug in South Africa is Wonga, where it's Ratex, HIV antivirals, and weed, which completely destroys your brain, and you never come back. You completely lose it after a certain time, and you become this vicious person. And you can buy it for 20 rand, which is about €1.5 million, in the straw, and that completely destroys you. And that's hitting the youth big time in South Africa, especially the teenagers. And the street kids, where they're not smoking glue or sniffing glue anymore, but smoking this. Yeah. Would you like to add something to it?
I'm just listening because I've never even heard of that.
Yeah? It was created in Durban, the drug, and it's hitting the South African market hugely. Like it's.
But I think that's another thing. That's another thing people are failing to realize is that it's like when you ban a substance, people just find an alternative to that substance. So how do you actually ever really end narcotics abuse? Because we can ban every chemical on the planet that's supposed to drug now.
Yeah.
And people will just find another way of using other natural chemicals to create the same thing.
Well, that's the same with Wonga. The HIV antivirals. We've got like one of the highest AIDS things in South Africa. So certain people get provided HIV antivirals, and it's the Tutsis in South Africa, the gangsters, that are robbing these people once they get their free HIV antivirals and taking them from them and making this Wonga, which is destroying the people that are trying to get help with HIV. It's destroying their future because they need that, that's what they want. But because of these gangsters that are taking them and creating this cheap drug, which is an alternative to something else that's more expensive. But we're going to end it now, and I just want to say thank you very much for everyone participating in this.
We support Face the Peace.